Right, a lot of stuff has come in about the coronavirus, which I'm going to talk about today. Now, obviously America's finally woken up, and they've gone mad with all their, because this is quite serious. They're saying it's worse than Chernobyl. Chernobyl, they say, was concentrated in one place, and okay, a few people died, but they're saying this is worse. This is now worse than SARS. A few things you've got to remember. It can stay on surfaces and on mail and on other people on surfaces and stay alive for 14 days. If I was you, I'd double that, or double it to 30 days. So call it a month. So if you get anything from China, leave it in the garden shed for a month, or put it in the freezer. But you've obviously got it on your hands then, so don't. We've got something coming from China that I'm worried about. They've said it's delayed due to Chinese New Year, but I've got to think it's delayed because of other things. But anyway, this is a consultancy number 3, to do with the virus. Any emails or anything, or any long emails you want to send or anything, virus@projectx.org.uk, because we want to hear from not just the public but officials. Anybody who wants to tell us anything, send it to that email address, or leave a comment. If this is on YouTube, which this tends to go out to Project X staff, so but if it goes on YouTube, then yes, you can comment, definitely. So anyway, what the Americans have told us this morning, and in some cases, some people are saying the videos are being taken down, and it's a man talking in what looks like the Senate to a lot of army looking people with lots of medals and things, basically asking them what they're doing in their area of the world to contain the virus. In his opening speech, he basically said that yesterday, while we were asleep in England, 30,000 people admitted themselves to hospitals with the virus. They're only the ones that admitted themselves, not the ones that are out there in China still. So this has gone absolutely mad. That's one thing. So it's going to be spreading a lot quicker than we thought. Number 2, it didn't come from bats and snakes in a market. They've now worked out that it entered the market on people and left the market on people. Nothing to do with bats or snakes or anything like that. Now, he also pointed out that in the same town, Wuhan, there is a class 4 lab for these viruses. And, racing through my head is all these other scenarios too. So I'm going to say to you what they are, and then you can email to say no, that's rubbish, or shut up, or anything you like. But just remember it. About 10 years ago, they decided that human population of the Earth had gone past the point where it's too big to sustain forever. And there's various murmurings from all the various authorities and things, but the biggest one came from, I think it was the Rothschild clan. The people who are around Rothschild, and when they get together for their little do's, they all make speeches, and one of them says, we've got to do something about this, and all that. So they've got the sort of money and clout. Now, if they were to go to somebody exiting that lab at 5 o'clock on a Friday night, and say to them, look, we'll give you £1 million if you're $1 million or whatever, if you plant your virus, or if you get some of the virus out for us and plant it. somewhere. So who's to say that chap didn't exit that lab with a file of stuff, go down to the market and go buy a fish or his bat or whatever, and then walk out. Man down the road in a suit with dark glasses, you know, his brown envelope, pays him his money. He can now go back to his province, a very, very rich person. So who's to say that didn't happen? Now, why choose China? 1.2 billion people plus, that's the ones we know about. You know, not really important in the eyes of the world as such, or the rich. Gives us 24% of all our emissions for the world. So why not start in China? I don't think they would start anywhere else. Also, that China isn't really geared up for the kind of forensics and crime solving capability that most other countries are. Hear that wind? Very, very bad today. This is the bottom of Hurricane Dennis. That's crumbs. That's hit Scotland and Northern Ireland, and we're sort of in the middle of England, on the bottom side of it. So, and Milton Keynes is on a bit of a bump. So I should think it should get quite windy up, and we're in the roof as well, so that doesn't help. So yeah, that's the as far as we've got with the virus. You know, they're not telling us everything, because they've shut up the doctor that first warned them about the virus. He was taken away and charged with spreading rumours. You know, they didn't even ask about his experiments and things. So, and quite a few other people have been told to shut up. And it's people have gone on social media with a mask on, saying, no, it's a lot worse than they're saying. You know, so obviously you've got to triple everything. So now I'm not saying go bonkers and rush about and buy stuff and empty supermarkets, but when you go to the supermarket, this is what we're doing, instead of buying one packet of spaghetti or something that's dry, buy 20. And then next time you go to the supermarket, buy one again, put it on this end and use that end one. So you're moving it up all the time, so that the sell-by dates, obviously spaghettis should be okay, but for some reason in England, for instance, they've got to put a date on because it's the law. And if you buy flour for bread, that has got to be bread making flour, and put it into containers, still in its paper packet, but put it into plastic containers. And if you can afford it, put in a silica gel thing, then you can store it anywhere, because that'll take all the moisture out, because moisture can produce mould in the end. Also, try not to leave any air gaps, which is why I say leave it in the packet, because air gaps, the mould needs that to survive. And then again, do the same thing, buy your flour, put it on that end, take the one off the other end each time you buy it. And tins of soup, army ration packs, chocolate bars tend to last a year, but remember, in order not to get the white bloom on chocolate, there's a very, very narrow temperature window. If you keep it in that temperature, you won't get white bloom on chocolate. Chocolate's a good source of energy and pretty much everything. Okay, you might do your teeth in, but you won't be worried about that when you're trying to survive. Don't bother with any meat unless it's in a tin. So yes, tins, dried packets, split peas, anything dry. But remember, if you put it in a plastic container and there's an air gap, try not to have an air gap. Put in tissue with a silica gel bag in the middle. Don't let the silica gel bag touch the food. Silica gel bag in a sealed container. So it must have those clip things if it's a food container. Do that. But yeah, but I'm not sure whether we're there yet. But whereas before it was far-fetched, now it isn't so far-fetched. So what I'm saying is prepare yourself. But yeah. But like I say, food gathering, it doesn't matter, because if you buy 10 things of spaghetti, 10 packets of spaghetti, if nothing happens, you'll just use them one at a time. Just don't buy any. It's going to cost you the same in the end. Yeah, so that's that. Obviously, you know, they're still letting people travel around the world. They're still allowing ships to dock. You know, it's just great. It's just, the virus must be jumping up and down thinking, oh, it's my lucky day. But that will all have to come to an end soon. And that will then put a problem on money and food. Again, you know, imports stop, your food stops, money goes down, etc. So if you want to go really mad, you know, fill up a room with food. And then also gas mask. Don't go for these silly little paper masks or these other things. Forget about those. Go to a military surplus place and get the newest gas masks. The ones they're selling here at the moment, which they're not supposed to be selling, they're still current, are the ones that make it look like Darth Vader with the 2 small filters. They don't get in the way so much as the big round ones. So those. But on the other hand, the S10 gas mask, if you get those, there's usually a lot of boxes of filters still wrapped in their shrink plastics. They might be worth having too. Don't go for old gas masks because they had asbestos in. They've basically deteriorated, and all you'll be doing is killing yourself breathing in whatever's in the filter and what's grown in that filter since. So don't use wartime or any other old gas masks. Go for the newest. Don't bother with any of these other things, because a British military gas mask will give you, in fact I think there's one downstairs. Right, I'm going to go and get it and I'll show you. Fast forward this on. We're not doing any editing here, so you fast forward it on until you see me again. Right, comes in a packet like this. This is one of the original trials ones. We've had it for quite a few years now, and one of our associates was at the trials as an independent, secret independent advisor. So whatever the salesman was saying, he was interpreting that. Right, this is it. That's the, I don't think the army got issued this bit. This is just to keep it all straight for long-term storage. Right, there we go. 2 filters. They just, it's cold downstairs, that's why it's all gone misty. But yeah, don't know how you get those off even. I've never really looked at this. I've had it for years, I've never looked at it. We've had a few others, but these actually aren't supposed to come into public hands. But I still see them at the shows. So there's that. And also, I don't know whether these are issued to the army or not, but these came with it. Pair of gloves. So there's gloves with it. So any handling you have to do, people who come to your house, put those on and leave them by the door. Then I don't know whether these got issued either. You don't need these. These are for water bottle. So you can add that to the side of the mask, and the tube will go to a water bottle. That's the water bottle top, special one, and that's the mask. They might both be water bottle tops, I don't know. But yeah, there's that. There's quite a few other little bits that come with it. You probably won't get those. Now, don't go rushing into a surplus store and walk up to the man and say, thank you very much, what's this? Because sometimes you only get the bag. I've done that a few times. Yeah, and that's silica gel. Also, I'm not sure what that is. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. That's back in there. So that's what it looks like. The other ones tend to have that's sort of that shape. Tend to have a round one on, either one side or the other. But these don't tend to get in the way so much. But obviously your eyes are covered and your face is sealed, so you can't get the virus inputting into your eye. So yeah, they're quite worth it, those. Only problem is, here we've only got one, and if I take this home, it is the original instructions. I don't think that went into the army either. Read this, it could save your life. Very funny. So there's that. Now, you might be thinking, oh, any minute now he's going to offer us some for sale. But no, I'm afraid not. I'm going to try and grab this one for myself. Only trouble is, I'm not sure if I've got any at home or not. I don't tend to keep military stuff at home anymore. Because you get, we've had quite a few Ministry of Defence raids to come and have a look at stuff. Not really, well, one of them was a raid, because he hadn't talked to anybody about who we were. And so yeah. So that's it. That's the latest British gas mask. There is a couple of others which are really expensive and they're used by special forces, but they do the same job. So that will save you from the virus. And if you use those gloves too, then you won't be transmitting. When you go like this, you won't be transmitting anything to your eye or anything. So they're worth getting just in case. If you do get one, then the virus doesn't come, they're worth just as much. They don't tend to have gone up or down in price, the ones I've seen at the shows. I've seen them for just the mask on its own, £40. And a whole kit, when they first came out, the first one I ever saw at a military show, it wasn't supposed to be there, he had it under the counter. Because they were looking for those at the time. And I've got a feeling the people that go to the shows are still reporting. So anyway, that's a good thing to have. If you're, what have we got? Just looking at the time. I don't want to go over half an hour because 19 minutes. Yeah, so that's the virus thing. Now, like I say, if you've got anything to say, virus@project-x.org.uk. Consultancy number 3. Wouldn't mind getting any feedback. don't worry if you're a YouTuber and you see this on YouTube, because this has gone round our boys too. The video goes on our own intranet, should I say. So, and I'm probably the only person, I've got to say everything because I'm the only person who's allowed to talk about it to the public, because I'm the spokesperson. I've sort of become a less active member because I'm 60 now. A few other people have taken over what I used to do, and so I've become the spokesman. And at a meeting we had at the last military show, 2nd of Feb, I think it was, they suggested we start the videos. So we've had somebody set up this equipment especially. So yeah, that's how far we've got so far. As of today, I think in the UK there was 9 people with it. Somebody died today in Paris, or yesterday. So that's the first death in Europe. So, you know, it looks like it's still on the up. So start making your plans about what you're going to do. Can you go to work? Can you survive without money? I should think, you know, if you have to go to work because you've got mortgages and debts and credit cards, just don't pay them. Use all your money for food if it gets to the point where it's looking bad. There's no point going to work if you're just going to spread the virus. Yeah, so I'm suggesting, you know, most people now have to work literally to pay mortgages and to you know, but the kids going to school, hotbed of disease, you know, it's all going to go pear-shaped. Get ready to teach your children at home as well. We should be all doing that now, because all the schools produce is government clones, really, what the government want you to know. But I mean, people in where I come from in Wales, people do their own homeschooling, and all the kids that I've talked to that have been homeschooled have been brilliant. Not only have they been clever, but they've been their own person and not somebody creative. But that's another thing on here. I've got a feeling that's on the UFO section, how they do it, but it's quite obvious anyway, really. The internet's here now, you know. The only difference is there there's incentives to learn, whereas if we just put our kids on the internet now, there's no incentive. We buy them their food and their toys anyway. So yeah, but yeah, the virus is going to be I think this one's going to be pretty big, so we want to know what people think early on, within the next couple of weeks, not because normally our consultancies could be a year or 2 years or ongoing. So let's see what happens. Yeah, okay, thank you very much.